Hello beautiful people and welcome to the channel Life After Narc. My name's Debbie and I talk about all things to do with narcissistic, abusive and toxic relationships, as well as looking at healing from them. And today's video I'm going to have a look at the term DARVO, which stands for Deny, Attack and Reverse Victim and Offender. Now I'm going to put a trigger warning here and just say that this video does contain information around sexual violence and sexual abuse. So if that is something that you are sensitive towards, you may want to turn the video off now. If you're still with me, that's great. If you enjoy the content, please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel and share the video with your friends, family, anyone who you think may benefit. So DARVO, Deny, Attack and Reverse Victim and Offender. I'm going to go through each stage. Basically, what I do want to say is this is a form of gaslighting. In fact, this is the worst form of gaslighting that you will find. This could be found within any relationship that you have, whether it is with a friend, a family member, a work colleague, or more than likely a relationship that you are in, a romantic relationship that you are in. As I say, it can happen in all relationships, so you may recognize these traits from other instances in your life rather than just from a relationship instance, or a romantic relationship instance, should I say. So their first tactic is deny. In other words, they deny that this ever happened. So they will say things like, well, that never happened, or I'm a good person, why would I do that? What are you talking about? I'd never do that. Let's say, for example, and I'm going to put an example here. Let's say, for example, that they attempted to rape and strangle you. Now we're looking at the more severe side of abuse here. And I'm so sorry for any of you who have gone through this behavior. I'm with you, I have been there. And it is awful and it is insidious. As I say, first of all, the perpetrator will deny this act ever occurred. So let's say, for example, that you were having sex or making love and your partner did something that you did not agree to. Whatever that was, that's something that you did not agree to. And they will say to you, you may say to them, well, I didn't want that. And they'll say to you, but I didn't do it. Or, you know, why would I do that? I love you. It's not something that I would do. And this makes you think, well, hang on, did I just imagine all of this? Was it a dream? Was it some crazy nightmare that I had? No, it wasn't. This is a common trait for a narcissist or abusive person to use. In an example that I have used and talked about quite often on the channel, and I'll link a video below, about a photograph that my narcissistic ex took of a woman that he was later going to masturbate over this photograph. And when he opened his phone and I saw the photo of her, which he quickly deleted while I was looking at this photo, he denied it being there, but it was there. I won't be fooled easily, and I'm pretty sure most of you won't be fooled easily as well, but there are tactics that the perpetrator uses in this gaslighting to make it seem as if, well, no, you're wrong. I didn't do this. And you may want to ask yourself, why would a person who you trusted, who you loved, who you thought loved you, deny something like that? Why? Why would they deny it? Why would they deny that they did something as insidious as try to strangle and rape you? I think you know the answer to that. They don't want to obviously admit that they've done something wrong. They believe that they are above and beyond this, that they are above and beyond the rule of law as well. So when it comes to attack, what happens here is after the denial, you may well say, well, I didn't say that. I didn't do that. That's not what happened. You did do this thing to me. And they'll attack you and say, well, you're going crazy. You know, you did say that this was what you wanted. Or, well, you did this thing last week. Or perhaps you asked me to do it. You wanted me to do it. You were asking for it. Now, I just want to remind you guys that no means no. And if you have said no at any time during this offense that has occurred, has happened to you, please, please, please know that you are not going crazy. You said no. You were in the right to say no. They are in the wrong. They are the perpetrator, not you. You're not going crazy. Okay, they are now attacking you, putting that blame onto you and saying, but you wanted this. And I like to look at this as something that happens a lot in rape cases, where the perpetrator will say, well, she was wearing a short skirt, she was asking for it, she was drunk. None of those ever are a reason for somebody to rape somebody else. You have a right in this world to dress as you want, to drink as much as you want, to be who you want to be. It is not your fault if you are raped, ever, ever. So I want you to understand that right now, that if you have suffered that horrific, horrendous act against you, it was not your fault. You are not to blame. Okay, so please keep that in mind. The person who committed that offense is the one who is to blame. You as the victim will never be treated with respect from this person, ever. And I so wish that I have realized this and known all about this subject before I took my ex-partner back into my life after certain things had occurred. Unfortunately, I'm a trusting person, I'm a loving person, I'm a giving person, and I did love this person. With all my heart, I loved them. But you need to know and need to remember that if they do this to you, they don't love you at all. I know that's hard to understand and accept, but they don't love you. If they did, they wouldn't have done what they did. So them attacking you may elicit a certain response from you, and this is when it becomes difficult for you to stop, to put a boundary in place and say to yourself, no, this actually didn't happen the way you're saying. It happened the way I'm saying, because I'm the person who lived through this. So you may want to bite back at their defense and their attack by saying something just as simple as, no, I didn't ask for it. But that is opening the door for the perpetrator to then re-attack you and escalate the situation. The best thing to do is to just walk away. You're never going to change their mind. They will never, ever admit that they were wrong, ever. That a narcissist will never admit that they were wrong, and you can never be right with the narcissist. And I did a video a couple of days ago about this, which I'll link in the description box below as well. You may go into shock and cry and become very emotional, and that's perfectly normal and perfectly natural. So don't be, feel that this reaction that you're having is wrong. It's not. You are being told that you are a liar when you know that this did actually happen. You may reiterate your initial point and say, well, you did actually commit this offense towards me, towards my body, towards my person. And again, they will go back and defend themselves, deny it, and attack you. So that situation could occur a few times before you decide, hang on, just turn around and walk away. But what will also happen is we move on to the next part, is they reverse the victim. They become the victim. So they make out that they are the victim and you are the perpetrator. This is gaslighting in its extreme. And if you are upset because something of a sexual nature or a physical abusive nature has happened to you, you're going to be emotional. You're going to be questioning yourself. How could they do this to me? I thought they loved me. I loved them. And yet they're doing these things to me. So they may say to you something along the lines of, well, you've always had this rape fantasy. Now, I want to tell you something here, is that A lot of men do have a rape fantasy, and I'm talking about men who are unwell, men who are narcissists or sexual deviants of some sort. And I actually had an experience with an ex-partner of mine from many, many years ago. I was sitting in a pub with a current boyfriend at the time, and he walked in with his current girlfriend. Now, he didn't live in this city. He lived in a different city, but he was just visiting. And he got up and went to the toilet when my partner wasn't there. I think he'd gone to the bar to get drinks. And as he walked past me, he whispered in my ear, "One day I am going to rape you." And luckily, by this time, I'd left him, and there was no going back. There was too much water under the bridge. Too many things had happened. He had physically and sexually abused me. But they will still have these fantasies in their mind. They still have these thoughts there. They don't go away. This kind of person, this sexual perpetrator, is a horrible person. They're not a nice person to be around. So they may say to you, well, you were asking to be raped, or this was a role-playing game. Perhaps they wanted you to dress in a certain way, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. That's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. And often it's taken too far, isn't it? Or they will say something like, well, you were going to claim rape all along. And I've seen this a few times where in some comments, not on my feed, but in some comments on other feeds, where the person has said, well, it was a one-night stand, and they said that I raped them. And I asked, did they say no? No response was forthcoming from that person. So they probably did say no, and no means no. If you have said no, it means no. Like I've already said, it means no. You don't want that specific act committed. Or they will say something like, well, you did this because you want to fall pregnant. Again, putting that blame onto you, reversing themselves into them being the victim and you being the offender. And this can happen in other ways as well. One of my exes, also a narcissistic ex, laid charges against me for something that he claimed that I had done. And something that had happened previously, I went back and looked in my diaries and found this had happened, a specific incident had happened, where he had physically abused me and tried to sexually abuse me. And when he was questioned by the police, he denied it. These gaslighters are so good that they will deny these things to the police and other authorities. And in fact, it is often gaslighting, and this DARVO technique is often something that is used by the police themselves when questioning perpetrators. So it's good to know if you are a victim of this. It's good to know that you are not to blame. But remember that these people are clever. They know what they want. They know what they did. They know exactly what they did, and they know it was wrong, but they don't care because they got their way in the end. And they are never wrong. You can never be right. Sometimes they will even begin to believe their own lies. This is something that happens often with grandiose narcissists. And I'm going to refer to a couple of politicians around the world that are grandiose narcissists, and they actually believe their lies. They believe, for example, that they didn't go to a party, that they didn't eat cake, that this specific thing didn't happen. And they will state this in front of many, many people and many, many witnesses, such as in the Houses of Parliament here in the UK. They repeat these lies so much that they believe them. And if you were to put them on a lie detector test, they would probably show up as them telling the truth, because in their narcissistic, abusive, toxic brain, the chemicals that are in there, they believe it. They believe that they're right. So I actually came across one study that found that when people were confronted or confronted their abusers, 44% of the perpetrators denied the events. So it's going back to the denying of the DARVO. 22% said it was a misunderstanding. So coming to the reverse victim side of things. And 44% went on the attack and said that they were the person that they are or committed this abuse against is crazy. So this is a common theme around these kind of incidents where people will try to deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. So you become the offender, they become the victim. Some things that you can do to protect yourself against this is record the story. So write the story down in a journal or in a diary, or even verbally record it on your phone. You can find safety. So go to a safe place, hopefully with a friend or family member, a hospital, or if necessary, the police. And I know a lot of us don't want to go there because of the fact that we are never believed, and the fact that only 1% of all rape charges ever go to court anyway. And of those, I think it's 4% are actually found guilty. Seek your support. So whether that is a friend or a support group of some sort, perhaps a charity group that deals with this kind of sexual abuse, such as Women's Aid or Refuge, make sure you have your support around you to help you through this. You're going to need it. You are. We are strong. Yes, we are. But we need that support. We need to have somebody listen to us and be believed. Recognize and accept their denial. Don't get sucked back in. Like I said, if you get sucked back in to that disagreement with them, it's just going to go round and round. You are going to become more and more upset, and you may well get to that point where you start believing what they are telling you, and that, well, maybe it was my fault. Maybe I did say that I wanted this act to be committed on me. Maybe I misunderstood. Again, we're coming back to that gaslighting. You were not in the wrong. They were. Also, recognize and understand their counterattacks against you and try to back off from them. So they will probably bring things up from the past that happened a long time ago, and say things such as, well, look at what you did last week, or remember last year when you did this thing or said that thing. They're trying to distract you from the actual point of the problem by taking you down a different path to confuse you, create confusion, and again, make you think, well, again, did I do this? Was it me? Was it my fault? Try and avoid the role reversal if you can. Know that you are not to blame. And one thing that I would say to you is, if you can, grey rock or walk away. Try and walk away from that discussion, that argument, because it's not worth your energy and time and upset on this person. And then the last thing is ignore public opinion. So this is when the smear campaign starts, when the perpetrator against you goes and tells their friends and family that you were the one that caused all of this. You were not the one that caused all of this. Don't listen to these people. Block them on social media. Block them on your phone. If you see them in the street, walk straight past them. It is not worth getting upset with these people because the narcissistic traits are so convincing to the other people in their life. They only see the one side of them. They don't see the side that you've seen in your relationship. They only see this person who's nice, who does things for other people. They don't know what goes on behind closed doors and what happened to you. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel and share with your friends and family. And I hope to see you next time. Blessed be.